There are objects in history that carry more than memory. They carry meaning so dense, so layered, that simply looking at them changes something in you. The wedding dress sewn from Major Claude Hensinger's nylon parachute is one of those objects. It began as military-grade survival equipment, deployed at altitude over Japan in August 1944, and ended up as the most intimate garment a bride could ever wear. This is a story about Fieldcraft in its most human form, the instinct not just to survive, but to transform survival into something transcendent. The parachute that caught a man falling from the sky. August 1944. A B-29 superfortress catches fire somewhere over Japan, and Major Claude Hensinger makes the decision that every airman trained for, but prayed never to face. He jumps. The parachute deploys. The silk and nylon canopy billows open against the sky, and a man's life is caught mid-fall. That parachute was military-issue nylon, a material that had been almost entirely commandeered from civilian life by wartime necessity. Before the war, nylon had just begun revolutionizing the textile world. By 1944, it was keeping men alive at 30,000 feet. Claude survived, and critically, he kept the parachute. Ruth's vision, Fieldcraft meets devotion. When Ruth and Claude prepared to marry in 1947, the post-war world was still recalibrating. Fabric remained scarce. The make-do and mend philosophy that had carried civilians through years of rationing wasn't yet finished. But Ruth didn't approach the parachute out of mere necessity. She approached it with vision. Working alongside a seamstress, she designed a wedding gown that used the nylon canopy as its primary fabric, incorporating the parachute cords themselves as decorative detailing throughout the dress. She didn't disguise the material's origins, she honored them. This is pure Fieldcraft thinking, the ability to look at a functional object and see its secondary potential without losing respect for what it originally was. Nylon, survival gear, and the art of repurposing. Modern survivalists and bushcraft practitioners talk constantly about multi-use gear, the knife that becomes a fire striker, the tarp that becomes a shelter, the cordage that holds everything together. Ruth Hensinger understood this instinctively. Parachute cord, or paracord, has since become one of the most celebrated multi-use tools in the survivalist community, valued for its tensile strength, its versatility, and its compact form. Ruth wove it into a wedding gown decades before the bushcraft world formally recognized what soldiers already knew, that paracord is among the most adaptable materials ever produced. The nylon canopy itself, spread wide and worked by skilled hands, became something no military designer ever intended, a garment of extraordinary personal significance, preserved today in the Smithsonian National Museum of American History. The deeper lesson. Resilience is a creative act. What this story teaches, what Fieldcraft Chronicles returns to again and again, is that true resilience isn't merely endurance, it's transformation. Claude endured the fire, the jump, the occupation-era Pacific theater, but Ruth transformed that endurance into art, into ceremony, into a marriage that began wrapped literally in the fabric of survival. That is the highest expression of the Fieldcraft mindset, not just getting through, but building something meaningful from what getting through left behind. Carry this forward. The world doesn't need to be at war for these lessons to matter. Every time you repurpose, adapt, and create under constraint, you're practicing the same ingenuity that Ruth Hensinger brought to a bolt of salvaged nylon in 1947. That dress now sits behind museum glass, but the thinking that made it should live in all of us. If this story moved you, subscribe to Fieldcraft Chronicles and share this video with every history lover, survivalist, and creative thinker in your life. These are the stories worth keeping alive.